They say that all fear is the fear of the unknown, and this is partially true. And to compensate for this partial truth, why don't we make the fear really known? This video is going to hopefully shine a very big light on fear, why we feel it and what it actually is. And the reason for that is because it's pretty hard to fear the fear after understanding what I'm about to share. The first thing to understand is fear is not something that we have to get rid of. It's less of like a... when we usually associate fear, we usually think of something like wrong. Like, oh, I was scared, there's some psychological incorrection. Fear is as much a psychological misunderstanding as pain is a physiological or a physical misunderstanding of the body. The pain is there for a reason, right? The pain is there to address a certain... the pain is there to address something that is sacrificing the integrity of the body. Fear in the same way is something that can be triggered when something is sacrificing the integrity of our mind. So fear is like a directive signal. It's less like a thing that shouldn't be there. It's a directive signal. It's a signal that is like gravity. It's like a natural force of nature, you know? So if we throw a ball up in the air, it comes back down. It's like natural. It's not something that shouldn't be there. It just is that way. Well, fear is like the recursive energy that brings us back into recognizing our true nature. Fear is the belief in non-existence. Fear is the belief that something could fundamentally not exist. Fear is literally the belief that which does exist, and most people, they don't know what exists, but they know there is existence. They never consider this. You have to consider that most people on their day-to-day operating mode, they know there is existence. It's evident, but they've never consciously considered it. So fear is like the lack of consideration as to the fact that there can never not be existence. So if we've never considered the fact that one, there is existence, and two, that existence can never die, like, it's literally like thinking that what we are is a non-existent entity. And that is coming from the belief that something that does exist cannot exist. And that's a completely false idea. And the reason I say this is because we do exist. We are existence itself. So when we believe that we're limited to something that is inherently itself non-existent. The body and mind don't fundamentally exist. So we can't claim, do the body and mind exist? Could they stop existing? They never exist to begin with. We have to look at the ultimate term of existence. The ultimate term of existence or reality or truth, they are three ways of saying the same thing. Truth, reality, existence. Existence is real, it is reality, and it is true. It means it's true from all points of view. There's no point of view that you can deny existence. Existence exists regardless of who's thinking about it, regardless of who's talking about it, and regardless of what or where or what point of view we are perceiving existence. Existence is period. It's absolute. You cannot deny it. It's just there regardless of who says it's there or not. Existence exists. It is fundamentally real. It is fundamentally true. And because it's fundamentally real, existence takes place, so to speak, in all experience. So, in other words, existence is the original, whatever existence is that is inherent in all experience, by nature of it being the only reality, the only substance that could possibly exist in order to make anything else appear to be real, even if those things appear as an illusion, they are made of reality. The only reality they can be made of is the only substance there is, that being existence. And the good thing is we don't even have to consider what existence is made of. We just have to know that it ultimately exists. If it exists, there's nothing, we can't question it, right? And because there is existence, because we know there is something rather than nothing, that is the proof, the absolute proof that existence is real. Now, most people, they don't consider the implications of that. So in order to completely remove fear, there's two things that we need to notice, and we need to understand what I'm saying right now. That's the first focus. And understanding this part is essential. It's that the implications of the fact that there is rather than there isn't means there is existence. If there is existence, it has to be real. In other words, it cannot be illusory. And if it is real, it has to be true. So something that is real is true from all points of view, just like I mentioned. It's something that is absolutely real. Fundamentally true is the actual source of reality, therefore, because you kind of have something that with all those qualities that isn't the source of reality. That's what the source of reality would be. So with that being said, and I know I've been drilling in this point, but there's a reason for this, because this is the most understated understanding that could ever be. It's the fact that there is existence and understanding the implications of that. So what we're doing here is essentially creating the belief. This is why fear exists. When that which does exist, which is us, we actually exist. We're not illusory. An illusion cannot know a reality. And if there is reality, then we are perceiving reality, even if we don't know which part of the experience we're having is reality. You see? So because there is reality, all reality takes place in all experience, all possible experiences, reality is inherent in it. And we are experiencing that reality. Now, I'm not even trying to go into too much depth here. I'm not trying to say what reality is. I'm just saying it is present, right? We can't even argue with that. So reality being present everywhere means that everybody's experience reality takes place. And because we are experiencing a reality, we must be experiencing the reality, even if we don't quite know what the reality is. In the same way that you could have like an infant is experiencing his home, his family home, but he doesn't know it's his family home. But, you know, he's in his living room, he's playing with his toys. He doesn't yet know this environment is your family home, you see? He's still experiencing it, but he doesn't know, he's not conscious of what it is. In the same way, we are experiencing reality, just not knowing which part of this is our reality, right? So in the same way that the infinite goes around, goes to the supermarket, goes to this thing, he's experiencing the world, but he doesn't know which part of the world is his family home. And then he grows up and he was like, oh, this particular little box is my family home. Hopefully the infant lives in a bigger house than a little box. But you see what I'm trying to say? The infant doesn't know he's experiencing a reality when, in fact, he is experiencing that reality. In the same way, we are experiencing the ultimate reality, but we don't know which part of our experience is the ultimate reality, you see? Now, the ultimate reality means that because we are experiencing it, we can ourselves not be an illusion. If we are not an illusion, it means we are fundamentally real. Something fundamentally real, it cannot come without the package of existing and truth. So if it is true, it also exists and is real. If something exists, fundamentally speaking, as we described at the start of the video, then it cannot fundamentally be untrue or illusory. So therefore it has to, if something exists, it has to be real and it has to be true. And if something is real, then it cannot not exist and it cannot not be true. These are like a triad, you see? And you cannot have one without implicitly implying the other two. And therefore, if something is real, something exists, and something is true, it is reality. It's the source of reality. So because we are experiencing a reality, we have to assume the reality we are experiencing is real, albeit appearing as an illusion. We can't assume the stuff, the theme, the texture pack we're experiencing is real. Just like, for example, imagine a computer has a reality. We cannot assume that the movie playing in it is the reality, but we have to agree that somewhere in our experience, the reality is present. In the analogy of this, it would be the screen would be the reality of the movie. We're still experiencing the screen, but because we're intoxicated with the movies where stuff seems to happen, we get fixated in the movie and we ignore the screen. The screen appears to be unreal to us. So in the same way, we are experiencing the screen of reality because it's impossible for us to not be experiencing the screen, meaning the reality of existence, even if we don't know what the reality is. So the point here that I'm making is extremely important. The important thing is we are real. So is what we're experiencing, even if the I that we think is experiencing might appear as an illusion. It has a reality, and so does the world. Even if the world, the actual stuff that we experience, the objects that are around us, even if they're illusory, they must have a reality, and we must be experiencing it, even if we don't know what it is. The implications of this is where the emphasis comes in. This is where the grand finale comes in. It's that we are real. We are fundamentally the same reality as whatever reality would be the source of reality, because we as a reality cannot be perceiving reality as an illusion, which means we have to be fundamentally real, fundamentally true, and we must fundamentally exist. Now, most people disregard this one fundamental question as just something that is just fleeting, unexperiential, and ridiculous. The question is, do I exist? If you ask yourself that question, do I exist? Am I real? You will come out with the answer yes. If you don't, then you must not have understood my question. Because we are real. It is the most self-evident thing that could possibly be known. And the problem is that we don't understand the implications of being real and existing. The implications are as I've discussed in this video. So something that is fundamentally real, fundamentally exists, cannot not exist. Period. There's not much else to know other than that. Which means that we cannot die. Which means that yes, even if the appearance of our body-mind may someday come to an end, just like it does every night when we go to sleep anyway, so it's not much of an issue, it doesn't mean that we won't continue to experience. It doesn't mean that what we are will die. In fact, it's impossible for us to die. So when we feel fear, it's because we have superimposed that which is real, that real part of ourselves, the part of ourselves that does exist, that we fundamentally are, that allows us to experience, we believe that it doesn't exist. Because the body and mind don't exist. The body and mind are, in our direct experience, if we were to completely disregard any appearance of a body, the actual experience of the body is an inconsistent cloud-like sensation, and so are our perceptions and thoughts. They all come and go. Everything in our experience, without using memory, without using concepts, direct experience, it's just fleeting. It comes and goes. Even if we go to sleep, we're experiencing different bodies. It's a non-consistent experience. So that part of ourselves is not fundamentally real, because something that cannot be perceived from all points of view, something that is completely coming and going, starting and stopping, that stuff's not real. Nothing that starts and stops can be an ultimate reality, therefore it cannot be real. You can't just have like an ultimate reality and a non-ultimate and a middle ground. Like, it's either something's not real or it's real. And if it's real, it's a part of the ultimate reality. And if it's not real, it just doesn't exist to begin with, right? It's an illusory point of view of the ultimate reality. Just like a wave is an illusory point of view of the ocean. So what this means is that ultimately fear is the correcting power when we believe ourselves to be temporary, limited, and finite. When we believe that which exists cannot exist, that's when we feel fear. When we believe that what we are can die and doesn't fundamentally exist, because if we believe we're inside the body, inside the head, contained by the mind, we know that the mind and body are not consistent. So they're not real, ultimately. They are an illusory thing appearing from a true reality. Now, we're confusing the true reality with the limited existence, the illusory point of view. The illusory point of view is the body-mind. That's something that is not real, is not fundamentally real. It's an illusory experience that comes from reality, but it isn't reality. So we have to see then that which actually perceives is reality, because the perceiving aspect of experience is inherent in all experience. It's the only experience, which is a subtle experience, a magical experience. It's an experience that's not really an experience, because it's not an objective experience, but nonetheless, it is there. So what this means, in ultimatum, is that fear is that which arises when we mistake reality to not exist, literally, as the source of reality. If we mistake reality to not exist, that's when fear arises. Fear is that experience of non-existence. So that which does exist, believing in its unreality, creates the experience of fear, because we cannot not exist. But if we create a belief that we do, that we can, that creates the belief that we don't exist, and therefore we feel fear. This is why we don't feel alive. Fear is like the lack of aliveness. Now, courage is the exact thing. It's the miracle. Courage is the miracle. Courage is grace. Courage is the grace of understanding that the fear is not actually a problem. The fear is there to actually correct us back to our true nature. This is why when we face courage, we feel alive. We feel aliveness. We feel this feeling that we are fundamentally alive, and that's why we feel that thrill. So that's why people love these thrilling things that can provoke fear, because they feel a safety in the fear. Fear is not the problem. This is the next thing to realize. Fear is not a problem. You do not need to feel the fear. So the way to move past fear, you fundamentally cannot experience the fearless if you don't face the fear. The fear is absolutely something you have to be able to face. If you cannot face the fear, it means you do not. It's almost like you're the dog being wagged by its tail. The fear is something that has to be able to be faced in order for there to be fearlessness. So at some stage you will face a fear, whether it's the fear of death or the fear of leaving this world, the fear of not existing, or the fear of anything, and your job is to be absolutely 100% in the face of fear, not scared of the fear. That's how you transcend fear. So understanding obviously what I just said about fear, then with the implications of that understanding, facing the fear with absolute certainty of our true nature. And that, I can guarantee you, is going to completely change everything. And it sounds like such a basic thing, just face the fear. But it's not just facing the fear, it's facing the fear, understanding the implications of what I've just said. That is a recipe for freedom. To be able to face that, like I mentioned, it's almost as if we don't deserve to experience the fearless unless we are able to face the fear. That's the reward we get for facing the fear. That's how we correct the fear. The fear has to be corrected, because if we continue feeling the fear should be there. If we cannot face the fear should be there. Just like if we cannot fix the physical pain, if something's happened, we've broken our leg or something, and we keep walking on it, the pain should be there. The pain should continue to be there until we learn to rest the leg and fix the leg. So for as long as we cannot face the fear, we will continue to feel the fear. So it's the same as pain. Physical pain is there to tell us something important. Likewise with fear. So for as long as we do not face the fear, in the same way as if we have a thorn in our leg and we don't address it and remove the thorn, so too are we not going to transcend the fear unless we're capable of facing that fear. And what I've presented you is an idea and a way to face the fear with courage. Then all you have to do is actually implement that in your experience and stare it in the face. This is something that I've done time and time again, and I imagine there may even be times where I do this again in my life. There was an earthquake that I was in, and I had to face that fear again. You see? But the fear is not a problem. The fear, I'm not scared of the fear. That's true power. Not to not feel the fear, but to be able to sit there and face the fear and not be scared of the fear. That's how you overcome fear. You don't overcome fear by removing it. You see? Fear removes itself when it's no longer necessary. You see? I hope this was helpful. I have a free community. The link is in the description. I would love to see you there. Have an amazing day, guys. Take care. Bye.